Did anybody think, as far as you're able to tell, to stop and say, well, if China has lost control, to what extent can we be assured that it is only still a realistic possibility that the majority of cases will be confined to it? There seems to be very little debate about this assumption.
This final sentence that you've brought up here is my recollection of what I was being advised at the time and what I thought at the time. So when I was struggling to answer the question of when I was told that, the conclusion from SAGE, this is closer to what I remember understanding at the time. Right. Yeah.
On the 18th,
and you have to remember, in terms of process, apologies, SAGE outcomes were reported to me by Professor Whitty.
Did you not read the minutes?
Later in the pandemic, I took the minutes directly, but at this early stage, I was given a readout from Professor Whitty.
Did anybody know that the Secretary of State for Health was not reading the minutes day in, day out from the sole Scientific Advisory Committee on Emergencies?
I don't know.
The evidence before this inquiry, Mr. Hancock, is that the minutes were deliberately consensus-driven and short. They were quite short.
Yeah.
To enable them to be read by Cabinet Office, DHSC, Civil Contingency Secretariat, Number 10, and so on. But they weren't read by you.
They certainly were when they were presented to me, and they were. And they came up and they were reported to me by the CMO, and this is my understanding of the situation at the time.
Can I press you, please, to help us with when you first regularly started being presented with and reading SAGE?
I asked for them at some point in the middle of, at some point in February, to be regularly put in my box alongside being. But the formal process was not that. I mean, we can come on to this because I've got quite a lot of thoughts about how this interaction operated, and it's very, very important. With hindsight, I think I should have gone and listened directly to the debate in SAGE. I don't think that would have queered the pitch. But the process of SAGE was that SAGE was a committee that, remember, at this point did not have the sort of nationally known significance that it does now. It was a group of scientists who came together to make recommendations and bring the science to the CSO and the CMO.
Regardless of their public prominence, Mr. Hancock, the position is that SAGE was the sole body providing science on the characteristics of the virus, what it amounted to, what the threat was, what in theory could be done, and the minutes from that body, which were being produced on a tri-weekly basis, were not, you say, being put before the Secretary of State responsible for public health.
Not in the first instance until I asked for them, but also the premise of your question is not correct. They were not the sole and only body. They had subcommittees like SPIAM. There was NERVTAG, which reported formally into the department. And, of course, there was a much wider body of publicly debated scientific advice. So SAGE was an important body, but I think that it would be wrong to fetishize the existence of and the role of SAGE.
Was there another scientific body concerned with emergencies for the United Kingdom government?
Yes, NERVTAG, for instance, had
a significant NERVTAG was a DHSC subcommittee which reported on new and emerging viral threats, an advisory group reporting to DHSC. What other scientific emergency body provided advice to the United Kingdom government?
As I said, NERVTAG did to me through JVT, he was my rapporteur on NERVTAG, and then SAGE, of course, had a number of subcommittees.
Right. On 18th of February, your witness statement records